Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the BNI Partners in Excellence show. I'm Andy, and today we have Ramses Hernandez with Mainline Insurance. Ramses, thanks for coming to the show.
Dude, thanks for having me. It's been a while since I was like, when should I come? When should I come? So.
I'm not going to say that you were delaying on purpose, but I want to say you were intentional about when you chose to come on the show. How about that? Does that sound better?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
A little
I guess
more
I just didn't want to be
amenable?
the very, very last one, but definitely I didn't want to be the first couple.
How about middle of the pack?
Is that where I'm at?
Middle of the pack kind of works.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're middle of the pack. I think
good.
that works good for you. I'm not sure if there's more behind that or not, but I guess we're going to find out today.
Yeah, we'll find out.
Well,
away.
I'm glad to have you here. As you've seen on the show, we have general conversation. We talk about business, talk a little bit about networking here and there, but also we go into the backstory. What brought you into what you do, what you enjoy, kind of just more than sometimes what comes out of a one-to-one where, yes, those are focused, and yes, there's great intentionality, and great referrals come out of those, of course. And you and I have quite a referral story, which we're going to talk about a little bit today, too.
That was pretty cool, yeah.
So we'll get to that. My largest referral to date ever in BNI came from you many years ago. So I want to talk about that. But first, let's talk about like Mainline Insurance. So for anyone who doesn't know what Mainline Insurance is, what's up with Mainline, and how long has Mainline been a part of BNI? And tell me what's going on in the world of commercial insurance these days.
All right. Well, Mainline is an insurance brokerage. What does that mean? We shop for insurance based on your needs. We concentrate in the commercial world, so that means businesses. And as I often say, right, like it's workers' comp, commercial auto, general liability, some bonds, some miscellaneous type of insurances out there. We'll find it. Based on the markets out there. We just, go shopping with our keyboard and mouse and stuff like that. So, but
First time I've heard you describe it that way. We go shopping with our keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, I wanted to say purse, but there's no purse.
And maybe I can pit stop real quick and say you also offer inland marine, which of course I'm a personal beneficiary of here. Everything you see on set and don't see on set that's recording us right now, all covered by inland marine. So thank you so much.
Yeah, you're super technical, man. You're like the only one out of all the clients that was able to produce like a full Excel spreadsheet with the itemized.
Well, I kind of had to. It kind of forced our hand too. Like, okay, I need to have itemized inventory because, in the event of loss, I can recount. Oh yeah, I have this, I have that. But I was like, wait a minute, I don't have the serial number written down. Like, I know the model number, but I don't have the serial number written down. I haven't researched in a long time. What's this thing cost to replace? So the exercise for me was actually really helpful.
Right, but that's always been you. Right? You're so technical, like efficient in everything you do. So I really loved you being one of our clients.
That's like the nicest way. Like, you've always been a little nerdy, and I'm so happy that I could help you with that.
Right, but that's good. That's what I want from everybody. So you're like the model client.
Oh, jeez.
Provided all that. But your question about BNI, Mainline Insurance. Mainline Insurance was in BNI before I was in BNI. Something went wrong, and there was an opening, and I was able to come on in. It was so awesome. So that was about, I don't know, have an exact date. I don't know if you know, like 11 years or so.
I think it was, but I don't know if you remember this or not. Like, I actually met Ralph before I was even in BNI.
No, I didn't know.
So at the original office, which was a closet, like suite A and a half or 1.5 or whatever it was, on like some back alley in West Chula Vista.
Jazzy Jazzes or something like that.
Whatever. I don't even know what the other
office.
Business was, but that's where I met Ralph, because back in, I think it might have been 2006 or maybe it was 2007. I don't know what year. What year's the established date of Mainline? Is it 06 or 07?
06.
It was 06. Okay, so that's the year, because I had met someone who originally started there a long time ago named Johnny.
Yeah.
And then I met Ralph because of that. Right. And so I knew Ralph since 2006, even before I got into BNI in 2009.
Right, yeah. And I knew all of their offices. I would stop by and visit. We'd go for lunch or so forth. That wasn't really part of Mainline, but I knew about Mainline since the very inception about them. I was in banking prior to that, but and some other stuff. But yeah, so when I joined BNI, I think you were president.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. And it was so funny because it was when I was starting to like just, spread my wings and fly, be out there in the world. I was recently a brand new dad, and then I was also single. And the funny part was like, all right, I'm going to join this networking group. And at the same time, I think I mistakenly used this secret email to register because, oh no, you know what it was? I'm mixing things up and I might be saying too much, but here we go. I also signed up for, during this time, I was diving into my Christian faith.
And fitness.
And fitness. And dude, I'm telling you, I was trying everything I was becoming a new man, or actually just becoming a man. So I signed up for a growth group through the church, right?
Yeah.
And I was so sketch about it. I used the same email with the same feelings I had with my online dating profile. So when I saw you in BNI, I was like, hey, are you the same Andy Cruz from this growth group? And you're like, oh, yeah. And then you just regurgitated my email, which was like a secret email that you're like, blah, 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 at Rocket Mail.
I forgot about that.
And I was like,
I totally forgot about that.
I was like, I don't know what you're talking about, dude. Like that email. Yeah. Okay, sure. And I was like, because there was just this one computer I would use to create these online profiles. I mean, not like, but just one profile. I mean,
yeah, hold on a second. What
right.
are you doing, man? Yeah, how many profiles did you have?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that part. Like,
Yeah,
I remember,
nobody
now that you're
knows
telling me
that.
this, I know.
Nobody knew this
I
part.
remember that, but
I need a
gosh.
drink.
That is so funny.
All right, so
So you set up this email account that you were using for now various reasons.
these things I was exploring, these new ventures I was gonna give a shot, and they all became fruitful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I met my wife on Christian Mingle,
Yeah.
and then you were
We
one
became friends because
Yeah,
of the group.
we did a growth group, and I was able to dive in more into this whole Christianity, and later on got married, got baptized, and been fully immersed in this walk. But that was the beginning of BNI. I think that was like my official day one, when I was like trying to put like, wait, are you the same Andy Cruz that's gonna lead this group? So that was super
Oh my
interesting.
gosh. That was a long time ago now.
Yeah.
Oh man, that had to have been. Let's see, when was it? Because I was at our Oak Point house. That was like I didn't move there till like 2011. So it had been like 11 or 12 or 13 maybe. I don't know what year it would have been.
Did you have a tire? Like
But
big tire?
no, I had a tractor tire.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we were like flipping it in the front yard, and it had like the sledgehammer.
Yes,
like, yeah. Yeah, we're doing sprints and we're doing box jumps on the tire, flip the tire. Like, yeah, we had a whole like workout thing set up to, exercise and try to quell all this happening, which here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Your cameras are going to only be from here, up, right?
Yeah. We're going to have to put the slim filter on this part. So that way we're like narrow, just chiseled jaws. I mean, your beard's covering up real pretty good, man.
Yeah.
Everyone's jealous of your beard,
That's what it's there for.
I say everyone. That's me,
That's you.
me and a handful of others, but
Yeah.
I'm not the only one that tells you that.
I didn't start BNI with the beard.
I remember that. Well, you didn't do banking in a beard either, did you? Because
No.
okay, so context here. So
Yeah.
so the reason you knew it because of Mainline, knew Mainline because you were at WAMU, right?
I was no,
Or
I was
had you
I was
been-
unemployed? But the reason I knew Mainline was through the same person, Johnny.
Okay.
And then, but I was in banking. Then I left banking, and I was doing sort of these investments, and I would property manage our investments.
Got it.
We were in the condo hotel industry.
Right. I remember that part.
Yeah, we own a room in a hotel. So something like the Hard Rock, San Diego Hard Rock, or MGM Grand in Las Vegas. They have 3 towers in the back, known as the Signature Towers. So we're just in that realm trying to invest and grow a portfolio. And then we had to start our life all over again too.
But so is my memory getting it right that you were at WAMU though? For those who don't know, WAMU is short for Washington Mutual, a bank that got absorbed by another bank through the collapse of 2008 and 9.
Right. I think it was like they're kind of like forced. Like, no.
There was a lot of forcing happening.
Yeah,
back
you're not
going to
make it. You.
Oh yeah.
Chase will take over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Washington Mutual was so much fun. I love banking. I think nobody realizes how much fun banking could be unless you're like within. Like as an employee from the outside, it looks really boring. You walk in, it's all quiet and stuff like that. But
WAMU is different. For anyone who doesn't know,
Yeah.
like WAMU is a little different because you walk in and like every banker/teller had like their own little station, and at least the one that was here in town is like a circle.
yeah,
And
they call
so
it the Ocasio.
the Ocasio. Okay, that was what it was called. Is that like a real word?
I believe so.
It must be a real word. I mean, you guys used it, but
Right.
the whole approach was different. It wasn't like, oh, we're behind this countertop and you're going to come to us when you point and call you and all that. It was like, hey, we're welcoming, we're friendly. Come stand. We're going to stand next to each other and we're going to do your transaction, help you out. It was really cool.
Very modern, very cool, different approach. Very open. It allowed you to walk around freely, and it felt very comfortable.
Yeah.
So,
And how long did that last? How long were you there? I don't know that part. I don't think.
there, before 2001, because I remember we held a moment of silence at the branch.
Oh,
from
wow.
9/11.
You were there then. Wow. Okay.
Right. Yeah. And then I left in 06.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you did that for 5 years.
Yeah. But I was at BFA beforehand and, for a couple of years. And I started in operations, but I sucked at it. Like filling out paperwork and so forth is not my forte. And they're like, you should go to the desk and sell bank accounts. And I was like, I'm not a salesperson. I don't like talking to people. But it worked out pretty good. I ended up being like national producer, top 5%.
That's amazing.
We got like awards, trips, and so forth. So I don't know why I said we.
And now you've parlayed that into being an online shopper, shopping for insurance on the keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, with the keyboard and mouse. Yes. Yeah, that's also fun too sometimes.
So let's bridge the business banking experience with B of A, WAMU. You're doing property management at the time for these were they timeshares? I guess
we modeled like after the timeshares. Like I went to a timeshare event just to get get an idea, concept of what it was. I was strictly just there like as a spy, just to see their model and so forth. But we
were doing research, recon.
Right. We were thinking about so we're buying the properties. So we hold a deed to them, but we need more money so we can buy more. So it was more like an investment where you're going to come in and invest within our company. It was the name of Sweet Dreams LLC, and suite like it's a hotel suite.
Right.
And then that was very creative back then.
Yeah.
And so we would purchase these properties, and you would be able to provide capital, and in return, while we're investing and so forth, you get to stay a couple of like days or weekends or whatever you wanted to choose from our existing portfolio. But
how many at its like peak and pinnacle, how many did you have under your belt? Like 3, 5, 10, 20? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know how big that grew at that time.
Yeah, if I count them all, 2. It was two actual properties that were, pillows on the bed.
Yeah.
1, 2 in escrow, or like building. I guess not even escrow. They were still building them. And then 1 was not ours, but I picked it up and I was managing it as well.
Was the transition from that to Mainline, or was there something in between those things? I don't remember.
No, from there, that was kind of like a side job, so forth. Nobody's really paying me to do this and so forth. I really needed to find something, and that's where Mainline was starting up. They're already entering their probably 3rd year, and they were like, "Go get licensed," and I was like, "Okay." So in between Madden, I had a laptop going with like all the schooling I was supposed to do or so forth.
You're just gonna casually drop in that you're playing Madden. Okay.
I was really obsessed with playing Madden.
Got it.
And I got my license, passed the test, first try. I guess that's kind of hard to do. And then I started working there.
Wow.
Took a while to build a book of business.
Right.
A very long time.
Yeah.
And what's this, about year 15 or so, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
So
when did you, so starting off early, you're younger in your career, or you're brand new in your career, younger as a man and an adult, when did you have this like epiphany or awareness, like, oh, I found a niche for myself, or I found like a vein that I can like really kind of exploit in the positive way to like help more people and like grow my book? Like, when do you remember having a moment or a year or a situation that kind of like opened your eyes to that?
In a way, it goes back to banking, I think, the service part of it. There's a lot of like, it's very transactional, so forth, but it's also like you can give up really easily. Like, I can't find it. So for me, it wasn't the dollar amount, the size of this lead that we got in. It was fulfilling that task. It's like when we're shopping for insurance, it's almost like, think about like Tetris and crossword puzzles all mixed in together, right? So you have to fit the puzzle and fill in the words correctly for it to get approved. So it's just like, it's a challenge. It's a puzzle. And so for me, I think like that service oriented, where like, it doesn't matter how large or small, going back to the banking, it doesn't matter how much money you have or you don't. Because I hated that part, because we were trained to give extra services if you were like a premier client or something. And I didn't agree with that. Like, well, it doesn't matter. So I think that the service part of me making sure that from start to finish, it gets fulfilled. So I think that's what set me apart early on. Not necessarily like a special product or niche. I mean, those come and go. Things will be like on sale, and we're like, hey, let's move these plumbers to this program because it's a really, really good program. It has a bunch of things that others exclude and so forth. So that's always a continuous thing. It's like something we just have to be aware of the market.
So do you have, I mean, now going into your, like, let's say 15th year, like, can you recall of a time where you really felt like at home with what you do now? I mean, because you're kind of saying like, oh yeah, I felt that way in banking. Like, I know I want to be like service oriented, but was there like a defining moment or a season of your career where you're like, oh man, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing?
I think like once you start building a book and you have a good solid base and you're not worrying too much about whether you're going to have enough to cover bills and so forth, because your book grows, but it's still a 100% commission job. So you don't know exactly how much you're going to make tomorrow. So as soon as you got to a point, and I mean, this could have been like, I don't have an exact year, but it could have been year 5, 6, or maybe 10. But once you got that comfort, it was like, okay, now I can be a little bit more, concentrate more on doing this type of line of business, or just not too pressured into making sure you fulfill a transaction right away and just make sure you fulfill it the right way. Yeah. So there was that point. I don't have an exact time frame when that was, but I think that's where it was the money part.
Maybe date notwithstanding, more of a milestone of, okay, I have enough of a book of business with recurring and even considering attrition and retention. Like, okay, I'm kind of stable, if you will, to put words in your mouth, like I'm stable, where I kind of know what next month's going to look like. So more milestone driven than just date or
yeah, definitely.
So being this far in now and doing commercial and having done BNI together for so many years now, what year did you join BNI? 2013?
12.
13. Okay.
No, yeah, you're right. 13.
So this is going to be your 12th year now, 2025. It'll be your 12th year.
Yeah, I know I'm 11 plus.
I had a conversation with someone the other day who was like, oh, I'm looking for a chapter. I want to come check a chapter out. Talk to me about some of the members. I'm like, we have a lot of members with 10 years or more. Like a lot. It's not like a couple. There's most of the room.
Right, has been barely starting to trust them.
For a long time. Yeah. Can you imagine if it took that long to start trusting people, like 10 years, 12 years? That'd be, that would say something. What are some of the things that have worked really well for you in BNI doing business insurance? I don't assume that it's only our chapter watching this show. I don't assume it's just the people that know you and me, but someone finds this, they're watching, okay, Ramses with Mainline's doing business insurance inside BNI. What's working? And why is it working?
Right. The friendships you build, like really it starts with the one-on-ones, right? You get out of the routine, excuse me, the routine every Wednesday morning structure. But then when you go outside and you do the one-on-ones and you get to know somebody, all of a sudden you start becoming friends with them. And then from there, that just the connection, like there's so many members that have brought so much more than just, a referral or business or some monetary value, but just the friendship, the wisdom that I've shared. I know I've joined book clubs through BNI, maybe we'll consider the other start with your workout, group, but although that wasn't really truly BNI, but just things like that these extra activities that you end up doing and fulfilling, and just getting to know people just personally. I mean, you can't evaluate that. You can't put a price tag on that. It's like the most important thing is just the relationship building that you're able to create through BNI.
Yeah. So what is what is there like a key moment or something that sticks out to you when you think about your membership in BNI where you go, wow, that was a defining moment of being in this network, or maybe just a season of it where you just felt like, wow, this is all exactly what I was hoping it would be?
This might sound like a little BNI nerdy-ish, but it's when we don't have meetings, or like, let's say if I'm ill or I went on vacation, as much as I dread that Tuesday night where I can't sleep because for some reason, if I know I have to wake up early, I won't go to sleep early. It's the weirdest thing, but it's like, I'll miss it and I'll be like, I have this like energy to come back. And I experienced that recently because we're in January. So in December, we were off 2 weeks in a row, and I was watching some of these podcasts, And then I was so eager, man. Like when it was BNI going to kick off again, because I had referrals, I had thank you for closed business, I had CEUs to register.
You had a lot of them.
Yeah,
I think you had 9, right? Is that what you said? Five? Someone had 9. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, somebody beat me.
Whoever had 9, I'm really sorry. Oh, was it Ray Batar?
I think it was Ray
Alex
Batar.
Cannon. One of those guys had like 9. I was like, wait, what? And then you had 5. I had 2. I was like, hey, I got 2 this week. Great. You're like, yeah, 5.
So I mean, it didn't really answer your question exactly, but that's like where I kind of...
No, it does. It does, because it becomes, so you're saying that it becomes part of you, because it's not just part of what you do in your week, it's part of what you do for your business growth, but you get personal growth out of that, you get personal relationships out of that. There's friendships that just grow over the course of time, because that's what happens when you spend so much time regularly with people. You get to know them that well, and then you end up cross-sharing successes together, and you grow together. That happens. I mean, it's a byproduct of that whole, distance makes the heart grow fonder, kind of, right? And I get that. I really do get that, because, we had Christmas that fell on a Wednesday. Okay, no meeting. New Year's Day on a Wednesday. Okay, no meeting. Yeah. I'm like, man, this is so weird.
Right before, it sounded really cool. I was like really excited for it. But then afterwards, you're like, I miss it.
Right. It's like part of my week is missing. What's happening right here? And you know what it is. And then I will tell you that the energy coming back from like week 1 back in the room was like awesome. Yeah. And it was, I know every once in a while you have a handful of people, they just come in tired on a Wednesday morning. Like, oh, I'm just kind of tired. I got to get myself all warmed up and get ready to talk to people and be social and this and that. But then it's like, dude, that first Wednesday back, it was like everyone's like guns a-blazing. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
We needed it.
We did need it. I think everyone had that 2-week lull, and they're like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see everyone again." A lot of smiling faces that day. So, okay, so I want to pivot a little bit, because I want to talk about a story that you and I share, which is to this day the biggest referral I've ever received and most notable, which was back when I was a BNI member with 9010 brand, my apparel branding agency, in its infancy still. You had referred me to someone locally who was representing Canelo Alvarez, who most people know is, like, I'd argue, the face of boxing, and has been for many years. After Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao kind of retired out, it's kind of been Canelo's show. Yeah, he's every like Cinco de Mayo and every and every Mexican Independence Day in September. It's like, hey, he's going to have a fight, and that's what you're going to watch. Right. So, talked about kind of how that happened. What was your side of that story? and how, because it ended up really simple. It ended up okay, but there's something to that. It ended up in our lap, and we ended up fulfilling that account for quite a while. But it brought a lot of notoriety to us, which I'll come back to. But tell me your side of it.
Super cool. I wish I could tell you, like, I'm like his sparring partner or something like that, but I've never met him before. And what it was, really, I think it might be BNI. You're consistently, asking for these type of referrals, and they're fresh on our mind every week, right? And I was on Facebook, and somebody was in need of your services. And I just said, hey, Andy Cruz, get with this guy. Then moments later, you're like, do you know what you just did? Do you know what you connected me with? I'm like, nope, I don't know. So, yeah, it was Canelo Alvarez connection. And then from there, you just blew that up. And you guys did such a great job with that.
So our name was dropped after you had dropped that, like, by several people. And what was so helpful of that, though, is because people piggybacked, but I think your relationship with Miguel at the time, like, he was like, oh, Ramses. Yeah. And so when he was kind of, let's say, soft interviewing me on the phone, like, hey, what do you do? Have you ever worked with a celebrity, this and that? I had already had in my back pocket having done the LaDainian Tomlinson 5K. So we had recently, because one of the questions was like, well, have you ever worked with a celebrity athlete before? I'm like, yes. Yeah. Okay, which one? I'm like, LaDainian Tomlinson? And like, and again, this is also a relationship that was through somebody else who was an event planner, and they were looking for someone to fulfill their T-shirt orders for the LaDainian Tomlinson 5K he used to hold here every year. And so because we had done that, on the heels of that came this opportunity, and then you tell another guy here in San Diego, yeah, the LaDainian Tomlinson thing, when he's qualifying you, he goes, oh, okay, another like pinnacle peak athlete in their league, in this town and in this region. It was like instant credibility.
Yeah. So glad it lined up perfectly, right?
It did. And we met here. Some people don't know that my first meeting with his people was here at this physical space on the other side of that wall right there. So I had my desk back here. This is my family's office and we our space that we own. And I met and sat right there. And my initial reveal to him of the clothes we had made for LaDainian Thomas and other people was in this very room. This was our conference room for many years before it became our studio. And this is the room where that deal got solidified in this exact spot.
Yeah.
Isn't that cool?
I
don't know that you knew that.
No. Well, today's my first visit. That's so weird.
So yeah, that is weird.
Yeah.
That is weird that your first visit, and you've never seen this before, but I didn't know, I kind of knew coming in today, I'm like, I don't think he knows that whole thing originated while I was sitting at that desk behind this wall. And I was showing Miguel all the stuff we had made here in this room in our little round conference table in this exact spot back in 2015.
Yeah. I don't know if I should say this, but I kind of used your win to try to get myself a win with the recent restaurant that was being opened. I'm like,
New Canelo Taco.
Yeah, I worked with Canelo before.
Yeah.
And I name dropped him. I asked him, like, hey, is it cool if I name drop? And I name dropped him. Like, yeah, you should insure them. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So,
that's awesome. So the food you told me kind of offset. The food was really good, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty good. The tacos are good.
I have not gone there, which I probably should go there. Kind of part of our business history. I probably should go check it out sometime.
You should. I'll invite you.
I want to share a really quick story that came from this too. And people might hear this with a couple different perspectives, but part of what we were doing during that time was creating something out of nothing. And there's a correlation to BNI here. There's a correlation to business and a correlation to friendship and not knowing what's on the other end of starting something. And part of what we were tasked with doing is bringing something to the market that didn't exist and it was just a concept. And BNI started that way too 40 years ago. It was just this concept. It didn't exist. And Ivan Meisner goes, hey, I'm going to get together these people and we're going to do this thing. We're going to have accountability. We're going to have a process. And it's become this massive thing internationally now, globally. And the whole Canelo account started that same way, which was, here's the idea. Yes, there's other people in the market that kind of do this and they have apparel and they're famous athletes and they sell stuff. Okay, great. But from that, what was tasked and required upon us was the creative aspect of business and the business aspects of creativity and like the blending of those things, which to this day has still helped me have success in the business space because I can bridge the creative people with the business people and speak both languages so that things get done.
Right.
And that's the same thing in BNI. You can take people who may be a little more introverted or a little more private, and they can be inside of a system that can work for them to get referrals and have relationships that maybe that's the thing that kind of has to prompt them to action to build those things that then can cause business successes. And to this day, one of the funniest things for me on this story, final point here, is no tacos, no life.
Yeah.
No golf, no life.
Yeah.
It came from a day when we were kicking around ideas of what should the motto of the brand be. And we came up with no boxing, no life.
Right. I remember seeing that. Then they started pushing that on the hats and so forth. So
it became like the motto for anything he does. So now like the Canelo golf apparel line stuff is no golf, no life.
It's at the taco store too.
It was an idea I wrote down on a Post-it note. I just wrote no. And actually what I originally wrote was the word KNOW. Like if you know boxing, you know life.
Right.
And the NO was capitalized, like no boxing. Well, then you have no life. And then they're like, well, that's a cool idea, but there's no really easy, clean Spanish translation. So we're just going to use the word no because no is Spanish.
Right.
So they just went with instead of you understand, like to know boxing is to know life. They're like, no, we're just going to say no boxing, no life. Like, cool. And the reason I say that is because sometimes the simplest approach is the right one and can have the most lasting impact. And that's the same thing that I've seen in BNI. Like the things that I've done in BNI that are the simplest and the most fundamental have had the most lasting impact because I can try to add stuff to it or change things. And ultimately what I end up falling back to is what's tried and true and what works best most often with most people. What do you think about that?
Keep it as simple.
Keep it as simple. Is that true for you too?
Generally, yeah, definitely. Just, it's going back to like maybe like the roots of things and just the base.
Yeah, I hear you talk about like relationships and like that trust building between people and something. It takes time, but sometimes when things get overly complicated, you don't want to do it. Like, oh, that relation. Like, I mean, look, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head, but I know in my past I thought, wow, this friendship is complicated. Now, my friendship with you is not complicated, but I'm sure if you sat around here long enough, you'd be like, yeah, you know what? Sometimes relationships are complicated. I want less of that. I want less of that in my life. So anyways, thanks for enduring the story time with Andy right there.
Right.
But thank you also, because I learned so many things out of that account growing and flourishing and being invited into things that if we didn't have the account, I probably wouldn't have experienced. And also things on the backside of the mountain, as I will say, of the things falling apart at that business also taught me so many great lessons about business that to this day, right along with me, every single decision I make, every place I go, everything I'd say yes to or no to, come from that season of life where we had everything and then we did end up not having anything at all. Right. And I learned a lot in that.
Yeah, that's the great thing about those falls, right?
Yeah.
That we pick up some good lessons and apply them.
And also, I think you know this, but that Canelo account, that brought us General Motors. We had a General Motors licensee that we started doing stuff with for Chevy, Camaro, Corvette, Cadillac, and GMC. And then we had Tony Gwynn, stuff we did with Tony Gwynn and that relationship.
That one looked really cool.
That was cool. I mean, that was my childhood, that was my star. Like I modeled playing baseball after Tony. My dad taught me how to bat like him. Like he's the best hitter of your time, son. Bat
Absolutely.
like him. I
Absolutely.
threw right-handed, but batted left because of that.
Right. Yeah. It's so frustrating to watch him take a first pitch so often. I'm like, dude, you're a great hitter. Why are you doing that? But the great hitters do that. They have that luxury to take that first pitch.
There is some crazy stat. And I want to say I saw it was who was it? The Braves had the three-headed monster. It was Greg Maddux, Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, and oh my gosh, I'm forgetting the last reliever's name. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Smoltz, John Smoltz. And I think combined in their entire career, they only struck out Tony Gwynn 11 times or 8 times, some crazy low number. That some pitchers will strike out that many. One particular player that times in an entire year, and they struck him out cumulatively that much in their entire career.
In the whole career.
It's some crazy. It's the wildest baseball stat I've ever heard.
During that era. Yeah, that's so cool.
So anyhow, let's pivot. Thank you. I appreciate everything that came from that referral and from you voicing your trust in us and allowing that opportunity. There's so many great things that came out of that. A lot of challenging things as well, but man, what an experience that was. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I want to talk more about Ramses. What do you like doing? I know some things about you that. You have some not so hidden talents, you're this amazing bartender that I don't think people know. You know how to make 150 mixed drinks. Is it 150? How many is it now?
Oh,
it's a lot.
Goodness.
I know it's a lot. It's not.
No.
It's not even less than 10. Don't pretend.
I just want to say 2.
It's not 2. You've made me more than 2.
Really?
Yes.
3, maybe 3.
Yeah.
I've scaled back a lot. Andy.
Whatever. No, I know. I'm not talking about on the consumption. I'm saying your skill set of knowing how.
Right. There was a time where that was my fun thing to do and explore and come up with different simple syrups, and I love using fresh produce, whether it's cucumbers or pineapple. Just having access to fresh produce and mixing that. Just goes a long way just in the flavor. And
what sparked your interest in that?
Yeah. I would say it started off with Noble Experiment. I was just reminiscing about that the other day. There was this bartender from Milk and Honey out of New York. There's these 2 bars. One in London, one's in New York, and he was helping out this speakeasy in downtown San Diego. That was its side neighborhood bar. So you go into a regular brewery type of tap room, and then they had these beer barrels that you push a door, and then there's this hostess there, and so super cool. It was one of the first, at least one of the first I became aware of speakeasies in San Diego, and I got to sit at the bar and a couple of times, 2 or 3 times, and have to hear him speak and watch the magic. And I'm like, wait, you're using an egg? And it's explaining to me, and the whole dry shake versus a wet shake, and never worked at a bar or restaurant. I've always wanted to be a waiter, but I've never been on that side of the industry. I've been as a consumer, and just that's how I picked it up.
So how long would you say that experience lasted, where you were just super interested and focused on learning how to make all these things? Maybe I remember it differently.
Oh man, part of it has to do with I got a fatty liver, so.
Okay, yeah. There's a reason to take the foot off the gas pedal.
So that and children, marriage.
Yeah.
It just kind of slowly mixing. But I mean, it's probably been like 2 days since I haven't done a craft cocktail.
Well, I remember you actually used kind of mixology as part of your presentation years ago.
I have.
Or is it one time or probably multiple times?
I want to say at least 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Probably 3. And the idea is because in a cocktail, let's say, like we'll take, your spirit, and then we'll take a juice and we'll take a, like a sweet and sour. So you have like a lime juice and then you have like some sort of sugar, like it's simple syrup, or if it was a margarita, I think I made once, I used the agave syrup. But the idea was that we have different mixtures to combine to produce one item. And so that's kind of related to my job. We represent different insurance companies, and in a certificate of insurance produced by our agency, we represent the client, and the client has insurer A, B, and C, and sometimes D, E, F. Sometimes they get very complicated, but we've placed their business, lines of business insurance through different carriers, but we produce it all in one certificate. Mm-hmm. And that's like the finished product. That's the craft cocktail there. So it was really easy to take 2 loves of mine, right? My profession as insurance, and then my little fun time making cocktails. And I was able to tie those in. So I loved that time. I haven't done it in a while. I think Jim's always like, do it again.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So maybe I'll do it again.
It's a real strong correlation.
Right.
Yeah. So what else do you enjoy doing outside of, I'm bringing up the mixology. So let's stash that. Okay. What does Ramses do when he's not doing Mainline? He's not doing BNI? Like, what do you spend your time doing?
Some of my time, not that I love it, but I have to, just gym. I have to do that at least 3 times a week. And then, dude, this is true. I really like going out to dinner or to a bar with my wife. We have like great conversations. It's just like, taking ourselves out of the home and just spending some quality time. That's why big fan of like the weekend getaways, like the 3-day vacations. Those are always really, really great. So that's what I really look forward to, just getting those quick escapes, not too long, because it causes more of a workload, but the quick ones are the best.
The 3, maybe 4-day weekends are cherished, huh?
4's pushing
four.
it.
Geez,
That's
I said the
right
number
there.
4, and you're all, what a reaction. Yeah. What's the most recent one you went on? Do you remember, like, where did you guys go?
Let's see. It was a long one. So the most recent one was Japan. So
okay. Hold on. Okay, wait a second. Yeah. So I dropped 3 to 4 days, and you go, ugh, and then you go, we went to Japan.
Well, that's all I know.
How long was it? Wait, how long were you in Japan?
2 weeks.
Okay. Did you guys hear that? He didn't like 3 to 4 days, but 2 weeks in Japan.
Yeah, well, that was the most recent one.
I'm just giving
and that's
you
why
crap.
there hasn't been any other. So.
Where do you want to go this year that you kind of have on your mind? Where do you want to be at?
There's an opportunity to go to Mexico, Ixtapa, I cannot say that correctly.
I don't even know what you just said.
Right. So something like that.
Okay. What's down there? Is it like wine tasting? Is it tequila? What's down there? Is it a beach?
Yeah, there's.
I'm kind of naming all 3 of them.
There's a beach. There's a beach down there, so that might be a getaway. But really, what I want, and I haven't booked or anything like that. It's kind of weird. It just came out of nowhere. I want to go to Vancouver.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's up in Vancouver? Like, what has you so intrigued about Vancouver?
Different country. Mm-hmm. 1, not too far away. I can maybe get that 3, maybe 4 day getaway.
You can have at least a half-day travel to Vancouver, though, man.
It's not that far. It's like right above Seattle, right?
Yeah, no, I understand, but so you're still going to spend like half a day getting there.
Right.
I'm saying the distance can be half of 1 day there and half of 1 day back. So
true. Look, I haven't planned it all the way through.
Maybe in the middle, 3.5 days. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
However that works.
I don't know.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I had no idea what to expect. I know there's you can be like in the island or not in the island, and there's a lot of greenery, waterfalls, so forth. If you go to the right parks, and so it just looks beautiful. And I was just sitting at work one day and it was like, Vancouver.
Vancouver.
What side of Canada is Vancouver, left or right?
Left or right? Not east or west, left or right. It's north of us, right? It's north.
Go this way?
Oh, my gosh. So talk about, I want to know more about, like, where'd you grow up? What'd you do when you were a kid? Like, did you play sports? What were your interests? Like, talk about that.
I grew up here in San Diego. It's South Bay, I guess it's known of, like more specifically between Myrtle Beach and San Isidro, Nestor area. And there wasn't much out there except for fields that lead towards the border. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of bike riding with friends, and there's little hills. It's sort of like off-roadish. Mm-hmm. That was fun, and a lot of street football, two-hand touch, and those were great epic games we would have. I mean, I just happened to grow up in a neighborhood where like everybody was having kids, so there was just a plethora of us from all the ages. We all partook, even the older kids. When I was in, I don't know, 10, 11, 12, there was like, they looked old to me, but they were probably like high school kids, but they would come over. Everybody got along. Yeah. Very diverse, very, very diverse as far as cultures in our block. And what else? So the bike riding, watching Border Patrol work.
That's a very unique way of saying that.
Yeah.
Watching Border Patrol work.
I would wake up. So my bedroom was upstairs, and I would wake up to you hear like people hopping fences, and wow. My little Cocker Spaniel's going crazy.
Oh, geez.
And so you'd
like in your backyard?
Yeah, literally.
Oh,
backyard.
okay.
It was 24/7. There was like activity going on. Yeah. It was very active Border Patrol activity going on in our neighborhood.
Where'd you go to school? Did you go to Southwest, right?
Yeah,
Southwest High School. Okay. Southwest. I don't know why that was like in my head. I'm like, I think it was Southwest.
Yeah.
I'm just like tossing it out like I know.
Well, yeah,
apparently I do know.
That's way down there. So
yeah.
High school is there. Middle school is Mar Vista Middle, so I was a little bit further away.
Mar Vista's in IB, right? Kind of IB.
Yeah. Still like San Diego, but I'd say in Pearl Beach, yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
So what are you, like, I wanted to ask you, like, what is something that you, like, I don't want to say, like, design your life after, but what I've noticed when I've talked to everybody is, like, there seem to be these, like, themes that emerge where it's, like, I've either had this experience in life or I was kind of brought up in this certain way, or my parents trained me up, or my grandparents influenced me, where I'm going to be this type of person, whatever that box of a person is, right? Mm-hmm. And these, like, qualities and characteristics and traits get, like, stuffed in that box. What are some of those that you think about now and, in our age and stage of life? What are some of those things you think about now and go, wow, these are defining qualities that I know were instilled in my early life that now have carried me through?
Yeah. Well, there's a lot, definitely. I grew up with a younger sister and both parents, mom and dad. Dad, a very hard worker, put in a lot of overtime daily. And my mom is very so talk about shopping, maybe that's why I became a broker, but she loved shopping, going to the malls with my sister, and I was there too. So I think like that's where like fashion kind of like kicked in for me, and just making sure you look neat, presentable, or how about just dressing correctly for the occasion?
You're always tidy. You're always dressed for the occasion. Yeah, you're always tidy too. You're always put together.
Yeah, I was gonna wear a suit, but I was like, no one's wearing a suit, so I'm gonna be casual today.
Have you seen any podcast with me in a suit or anyone else here on a suit?
That's why I wear a hoodie.
You've been walking here with a suit.
Kept it casual.
No, man, you walked here in the suit. Reschedule the show.
Right, turn me around. You're like, you need to have this green screen in front of you. We'll put your outfit on.
I'm gonna have to put like a wardrobe in the corner if someone shows up in a suit. You got to change right now. We're not recording until you change.
Yeah. So that'd be pretty cool if you have costumes in here for us to like change it. I want like a Viking or something like that.
Oh, not like a boa. Side note, my profile picture for you still is King Tut. Yeah. Was it King Tut? Not King Tut.
How about Ramses?
Just Ramses. Mm-hmm. I said King Tut, fully knowing it was Ramses the Great. Yeah, my profile picture on my phone is still you with your body painted gold. With like your headdress on and like the full like makeup. Dude, that was epic costume.
That was pretty cool. That was really cool. I was gold. Yeah, that's like what else? Gold.
Was it actually body paint? What'd you use?
Gold body paint. Yeah.
Was it a spray?
No, it was just hand rub.
Oh my god! How did that come off?
Shower many times. Soap and water.
Like I took a shower for 4 days straight.
Yeah. I still have some on my toes.
Oh my god! This is like how many years ago? That was a great costume.
I like that. That was one of my
I
favorites.
like that. That's my so I don't know when this started, but when there's other fellow BNI members that we've had as in our friends, like Jim Franco's the other one.
Yeah.
So Jim's profile in my phone is a Halloween picture of him and his wife Valeska from he dressed up like a what would you call, what was it in the 70s, like a disco king, like from the 70s, like with the hair and like the outfit and the shirt kind of unbuttoned. I'm
it's
like,
okay to say pimp.
I'm like that. Well, no, it wasn't that. But I was like, that's your new profile picture. So I have like the sequence of several people. I'm like, oh, I just got your new profile picture. And I have this client / friend who I'd met because of Bob Carlson at BNI. His name's Marvin. And one day he sends me this picture. He goes, Andy, I want to use this for my thumbnail. And it's a picture of him like on this like little mini motorcycle, and it's a T-shirt and the stick figure just says "I pooped today." That's his pro. I'm all. That's now become your profile. You should not have shown that to me. Now that your profile pictures. Every time he calls, that's what I see. Every time you call, I see Ramses the Great.
Yeah,
in full costume.
Yeah, I can wear that shirt too.
So
today,
go back. So sorry, massive detour. Go back. Childhood. Mom and dad. Dad works a lot. Mom's into shopping. You go shopping with them. You're dapper. Pick up from there.
That was one thing that influenced who I am today, and then father's work ethic, just also pretty cool. Let's see what else. Dude, I don't know. You threw me off with like this whole I'd be wearing a boa. That kind of bugged me that you said that. When I'm over here saying Viking, you're like boa.
Yeah, you have like the boa thing was more from the fashion idea, but okay.
Yeah.
Pick back up. You'd be wearing a nice suit with maybe a vest and like a pocket watch. I envision you walking through the door like a pocket watch.
Yeah.
And a nice pair of leather boots, some shoes, like nice pants. Go from there.
Dude, I am so lost on what I'm supposed to say now after all
We're
this.
talking about the traits that were instilled in you as a kid, like from your parents and your upbringing, that like you carry forward with you today.
Definitely.
Like, things you just like, okay, they embody you.
Right. Respect is definitely a big thing that was implemented. Not using incorrect grammar in Spanish, and then like I stopped speaking Spanish, and then I kind of forgot it, and then I learned English, and I stopped speaking English, and except in the middle. So I don't know anything that well, but my mom was like very adamant about that. She worked at Southwestern College as a language tutor, Italian and English. So.
Italian and English.
Mm-hmm,
oh, interesting. Okay.
There's some Italian heritage on her side of the family.
I don't know that I've ever heard you say that.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah. I think it's funny because I just found out I was like, I think a year and a half ago, I just found out like, oh, I'm Sicilian. I didn't know that.
Really?
But through a grandfather, great-great-grandfather probably. Hence the Guido in my name.
Well, there is that. There's your middle name. I don't know that people know that either. Ramses G. Hernandez. The G stands for?
Guido, Guido, and it's my mom's last name.
The name, not the slur. Let's be super clear. People have used that that's not the slur.
Right.
It's the name.
Yeah.
The proper name.
It sounds cool.
It is a cool name.
Especially when they like tell like, never mind. Let's continue. Sometimes you have to come up with like these like cool like, hey, this is your gang member name, and it's like you have to use the street you grew up on and your middle name or something like that.
Right.
So mine would be like Guido Pikaki. So it sounds really cool.
Yeah, mine aren't that cool ever. Mine are never that cool. Like those little internet things. So it's like your street name is your kid, and your middle name is your rap label name or whatever it is. Mine are not. Mine, they're not cool ever. So talk to me some more about what was life like. I mean, people have a variety of experiences in the neighborhood you grew up in, first of all. And then also just in the era of life we grew up in. Mm-hmm. Like you're talking about having these epic football games in the street. I'm like, man, I remember playing in the street until it was dark and the lights came on, and that's when you go home. And yeah, home wasn't like super far away, but you're like down the street at the park, whatever. And it's like you could still do that. I could go take my bike down to the baseball card shop or to the liquor store and get candy, and like I'll come back later.
Yeah,
and like that's how it was for me. But what was it like for you?
Yeah, definitely that was the privilege that we had back then. It was just go out, be a kid. And we didn't really do the street light. My neighbors would. My dad had a very loud whistle, and I could be down 2 blocks, and then my friends would be like, "Your dad whistled," and I would be so embarrassed because it was so loud because we're like 2 pretty large blocks away, Like, oh yeah, he did whistle. Okay, I'm gonna go now, guys. So that was like how I got called in because it was getting pretty dark. And but going back to that neighborhood, you brought up something like there was that tough side of growing up in that area. Also, my friends were involved in gangs, and I want to say my best friend growing up he didn't make it. He passed away through gang violence of some sort, and some things went wrong, and he ended up losing his life. So that was a very dark time to go through, and somebody that you miss that he's not there. You just have this memory about. But it was definitely just, I guess, like, reflecting right now, it's just like I got to see the gang violence. I got to see the different cultures, the different smells coming out of people's homes based on what they were cooking that day, the Border Patrol action. So there was a lot of like, you came out of the neighborhood like with pretty knowledgeable on like a lot of things going on in life. So
yeah. Do you feel like that's helped you in a specific way, or is it just more of in general, you saw a variety of things for a duration of time, and it kind of all adds into?
Yeah, it definitely has to influence me on like just how I am, kind of very reserved, conservative, so forth, just because you've been able to experience a lot of, or you see them. I observed a lot of things growing up.
Yeah.
You kind of be like, better do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. So I want to talk real quickly about, what are some of your like life aspirations and goals? Like we're in our mid 40s now.
Mm-hmm.
And, I've recently been thinking a lot about, what's the second half of life look like? Do you ever think about that?
Oh, like every single day? Yeah.
Oh, I mean, like, every moment. Like I've been doing half this conversation. What do you envision for you and for your wife Elvia and for your kids? Like, what are you reaching for?
The short answer is I don't know, and the longer one is there's something that's been nagging at me for a while, and that it's the home part. We don't own a home, and because I've been a homeowner before, and I've gone through market changes, I'm just like freaked out. I'm like, okay, when do I try again and not be put in a situation where you're upside down, loan to value is way beyond 100%. So that's something that I think on daily. I feel not daily, but like pretty often. Like,
often enough, yeah.
What do we do? Because our kids are getting older, right? And Jimena's in college now at GCU in Phoenix. Ramses is 12 middle school, and Mateos is in 4th grade. So I'm like, by the time I figure out the home, they might not even be home anymore. So maybe I should just, think about where do I want to retire and live in a smaller space where maybe I don't need that size of a home. We're definitely really happy where we're at right now. We love the community. We love the place where we've been at for, I want to say 9 years now. So we haven't changed locations in 9 years. But those are one of those things that just keeps tugging at me, like, go buy something. Yeah. I'm like, no. It's $1 million plus.
Yeah.
Right. So there's that. And then I don't know what life's going to look like with as the boys grow up and their interest. As a parent, we kind of want to follow our kids based on their interest. But then, there's 3 of them, so we don't know which way we're going to end up going. But trying to enjoy the moments while we have them and create memories. That's kind of like, I guess, my goal is to create memories, whether it's a simple trip to Subway. We never go to Subway, but
just as an example that doesn't actually exist. Yeah. Okay.
It smells bad. Sorry, Subway. And
eat fresh.
Yeah. Or taking a vacation with the kids, which I've been pushing them aside and just taking my wife and enjoing that. But maybe like the Vancouver one. Maybe I'll invite them.
That'd be cool. Yeah, Jen and I have talked a lot about wanting to go to Alaska, and like everyone wants to go. And then Jason Turner came on, and he went to Alaska. And then my cousins came back, like in September, they went to Alaska. I'm like, okay, I think we got. Hey, Caitlin, you want to go to Alaska? Yeah, Caitlin's nodding yes from behind the cameras with a thumbs up. That's a yes from Caitlin. Caitlin wants to go to Alaska, so I think I might have to talk to David Grief about that.
Hey, it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, and I heard the cruise to Alaska is awesome.
No one's ever come back from Alaska saying they didn't like it. So
No, I know. Everyone comes back and they go, "Oh, I'll do that again." That's for sure on my do again list. And there's also a lot more to see there than I think that we give credit to on the surface. There's way I've heard from people that have gone. There's way more to do. Like you could go for weeks and still not do all the different things you could do. I'm like, oh, okay, well then, all right, well at least have to go once.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd probably be disappointed if I didn't see one of the following, like a wolf, a bear, or
big moose.
Yeah. I think moose would
like
be like
from afar. Those, dude, they're huge. Yeah. Like you seen them like walk next to like a full size SUV. Like its head is at the roof,
they're
and
huge.
its antlers or its rack. What do they call it? Whatever. The thing is, it's massive. It'd be cool to see it in person
and then hear them, like the sound they make.
Yeah, hear it, but not not hear it chasing you. I don't want to hear it that way. All right, so I want a couple more questions, then we'll wrap it up. So, what is something, as you've been pondering these like next half of life kind of things, like I have, what's something that you like want to leave as a legacy for your kids, or like something to be remembered for? If you were to like just, I know there's probably several things, but pick one and share.
Something to leave behind, I guess. Going back to it has to be a memories, right? Because I don't see myself like building a park bench or something like that with my name on it. That it's not gonna be a materialistic thing. I think I'm gonna leave behind as far as a legacy. It's definitely gonna be an image of gosh, like how to be a man, a Christian man. How to have like masculinity and be okay. The whole different thing we could dive into on that, but the way I treat my wife, whether it's for Jimena from a woman's point of view, or my sons from a man's point of view, I think that's what I want to leave behind.
Yeah,
and just working hard, and hopefully they don't become like lazy kids or so forth. So
I don't. That's going to be really hard to. That would be an anomaly because that's not what you guys demonstrate,
right?
At all.
So leave that behind, and then hopefully see how many generations it could carry over, right? Because I mean, I'm gonna be forgotten maybe like by third generations after me for sure, but maybe not. Maybe it could carry over somehow.
Yeah,
that'd be really cool.
All right, Ramses. Well, pretend you're in a big stadium. There's 100,000 people in attendance. I hand you a microphone, and you get to thank somebody. Again, maybe there's numerous people you thank. Who would you thank, and what would you say?
Well, first I'm like questioning, why is there 100,000 people?
They're here. They're there to hear you talk.
Hear me speak.
They're there to hear you thank somebody. Right. So who are you thanking, and what are you saying?
I have to start with my father. I kind of touched on that a little bit. The man worked and still works. He's still alive, and he's still in the labor force out there working. But it's not what he taught. So my wife always says it's not what's taught, it's what's caught, right? So bless his heart. No, bless my heart. He tried to teach me a whole lot of stuff. My dad's super smart, super handy. I think one of his nicknames is early on was MacGyver. And so he knows how to do. He's like saved me out of like car trouble, like just how to figure things out. He's like an engineer at heart, and he tried to teach me a lot of things, and I was like, I don't care. He's like, this is how you change oil. I'm like, no, this Jiffy Lube down the street. But it's what I saw him, do, and a lot with my mom, how he respects her, loves on her. They're like boyfriend and girlfriend, man. Even to this date, they go on dates every single Friday.
That's awesome.
So that's been a good role model. Just being like a gentleman. Again, I don't think he ever taught me to open the door for, your wife or a lady or so forth. I do that now. And just the sacrifices he's done for our family to make sure that we're able to, we're the first generation Americans here in the States.
Oh, really? So I didn't know that.
My mom and dad, immigrated, or whatever. I don't know which dad. They immigrated here to the United States. So they were born in Mexico, and that's you just try to keep up with the Joneses, I guess. It's like in a good positive way, by working really hard. And so I saw that, and it's like, I'll think about that even to this date. As like, I wake up, I'm not a morning person, right? I'll wake up and I'm like, oh man, I have to go to work, and I'll be like, my dad's already been at work for like probably 3 hours. Like,
Girl, it's 7 a.m. He's already on his lunch break.
yeah. Yeah, those I love meeting people like that. We have meetings and so forth, and like we'll go to breakfast like at 10 a.m. and like they're like, do you have a lunch menu? And I'm over here like feeling all guilty, like, oh dude, they're on lunch already.
I'll have eggs and coffee.
Yeah. So, yeah,
That's awesome. Your dad sounds like a real stand-up guy.
yeah,
Definitely a hard worker, committed, dedicated, loyal, consistent, and knows a lot.
100%. Yeah,
That's
definitely.
awesome.
And then I'd probably close up also with my wife. She's been very encouraging. As soon as we were dating and stuff like that, it was just, she's like someone who inspired me, like just definitely motivated me. Just she taught me how to take a compliment. I couldn't take a compliment before, so she was,
Really?
yeah, she was like, you just say thank you, and I'm like, like trying to deny it, contradict what she's saying and so
I
forth.
can totally see this happening, by the way.
So, yeah, I gotta thank her also, because she's allowed me to be who I am today, and
Yeah.
I definitely like who I am today and who I was.
There's something that I think Elvia and my wife Jen share in common is that they stand their ground for the things they need to stand their ground for.
Oh yeah,
And
absolutely.
they give allowance for the things that there's needed to be allowance for.
That's the key right now. They give us the allowance, right?
And I don't mean like this whole like, oh, I'm trapped in my relationship and I get unshackled to go to work and I come home and once a year I go somewhere. No, I don't mean that at all. I'm talking about like, we're guys, and sometimes there's things you just need to hear pointedly, and that's the only way you're going to hear it, and that's how it gets delivered.
Right.
But there's also the times where like it's that careful correction. Like, hey, I'm trying to give you a compliment. Like, just say thank you. Like, I actually do appreciate about you. And sometimes that's more of a reflection of who we think we are versus how they think we are. So I definitely see that similarity in Elvia and Jen. And again, for context, we've all been friends now for the entire time we've been friends.
Right.
So since the inception of your relationship, really. So even off camera, outside of BNI, spending time together has been wonderful for me and Jen too. And you guys have been great friends to us, especially, gosh, during times when things in our life are just falling apart. Like, 90-10 fell apart and you guys were right there. And,
Brother, you've gone through some stuff, man. It's like,
yeah, coming back out of the hospital and all that. Like,
oh, yes.
you guys have really had our back. And we also have other mutual friends in common, like the vigils and the calls and all these other great friends of ours. And
Yeah,
it's been so awesome. And to know that about you and see and know you in that way, and Elvia too. Like, you guys have just been so awesome to us. So
Yeah.
thank you for that.
Dude.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Yeah. Like, I remember I was on the phone with you. I was like, I've never cried like over the phone. Somebody made me cry. Like, so it's been a roller coaster, and I'm like glad I've been able to be there with you during the ups and downs. So
Yeah, thank you.
really appreciate your friendship.
Yeah, you guys have been so wonderful to us. My final question to you is, this is my Larry King question, as I've told everybody. Larry King was such a great interviewer and such a good listener. I need to aspire to be a better listener like he was. But I'm going to ask you, dead or alive, who is someone you'd want to have dinner with or share a meal with? Dead or alive?
Thought about this question on the drive over here, actually. Cause
You did?
Yeah, because you've been asking.
I have been
question.
asking it.
I don't have a good answer. Like, I have a bad answer.
What's the bad answer?
I don't think I'm going to say it. I'm going to skip it,
Oh, okay.
and I'll give you a good answer. But
Okay.
the first person that comes to mind is a very evil person, so I'm going to skip that. Hitler. But
Sorry.
there's some reasons behind that. But anyhow, let's just go with, I believe his name is, he's an author. Is it Wall That Hard? John Eldridge?
John Eldridge.
Did I say that correctly?
Really?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
you
a
know
great
what?
answer.
Dude, that guy was his book was very inspirational as a father, and not missing an opportunity to encourage your he talks about his son.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss certain opportunities that are like they're just like a toss up right for you to hit a home run. It's like, so I think I would pick up a lot from having dinner with him, and he's awesome. He teaches us men that it's okay to go. What is it like? It's okay for us to go fight or find an adventure, fight a battle, and rescue a bride or a princess or
A damsel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Basically, a damsel in distress. I don't know that anybody knows this outside of Miguel. Miguel's the one who gave me my first Wild at Heart book years ago.
Miguel did a book study growth group.
Yes. That's how
Based
I
on
got
that
my
book.
first Wild at Heart book, and then since then I've talked about Wild Heart for
That's how I got
lots of
introduced to
people.
it through Miguel.
John Eldridge is an amazing author. Really consolidate the idea of like, I'll say just manhood in more of a biblical sense, but like fast forwarding that into like what's that look like today kind of thing. Such a great book. What a great answer. I would not have picked that one out of a hat, let alone guessed it.
I just know, like on that one, I would take away something from it.
Absolutely.
Some
Absolutely.
good wisdom.
Wow, that's a great answer, man. Thank you for sharing that. Any of you who are interested in that book, you can come talk to me or Ramses about it, or actually talk to Miguel. I have it at home. So these are all like business books, and there's a lot of like strategy in here. There's some market stuff, some finance stuff, business things in here. My personal books, that's in like my personal book collection at my house. So these are all like the ones that stay at work and they're more like work. And there's actually a lot of networking books in here too. For those of you who are peeking super close, USS Indianapolis story told by Sarah Vladeck, a friend of mine since college, and Lynn Vincent, Navy veteran here in town in San Diego. So that is the story of the survivors of the USS Indianapolis tragedy, which most people don't know about because, well, let's put it lightly, not so lightly, the government tried to cover it up.
Nice. Hey, do I get to ask you questions?
You can if you want. This is usually the end of the show, but what do you want to ask me?
I'm messing it up.
No, you're not messing anything up. What do you want to ask?
I got one. So not changing anything about your life or, monetary, just profession-wise. If you could pick any profession in our BNI chapter to switch roles with, whom would it be?
Oh, switch roles?
Yeah.
Oh, man. See, I have an answer for the what would I do if like money were no object. Right. I have two answers.
Okay.
Number one is I'd be a rancher / cowboy. Number two, I'd be a race car driver. I like both those things, the horsepower and horses.
Yeah.
So those are like
I would have guessed those. Like if it was like a multiple choice answer, I would have gotten those right.
I'll wear cowboy boots in the race car. Like I would try to make that my thing somehow. Forget the Sparco racing shoes. I'd make cowboy racing shoes. So if I had to switch categories with anyone in BNI in our current chapter, oh man, who would it be? In our current chapter or just over the course of time in our chapter? Because I think the answers are different.
I didn't think too much. Let's just go current.
Okay, so current chapter. Oh gosh, if I had to do anything, someone else is in the chapters. Okay, I have two answers. Oh. May I give both?
Yeah.
One of them is I actually would do what Mark Johnson does with mortgage because I have a history in mortgage. Our family business, separate from BNI, is a mortgage business. I know a lot about the markets. I'm fascinated by the markets. I talk about them often, and knowing how that all works is fascinating to me. And knowing what I know now, I would have done things different when I was younger to have afforded myself a different outcome than what it has looked like getting here. The other one is actually David Greep. I would love to help.
That's my answer.
Go and like sort out vacations for people because I have not taken enough of those myself or taken my kids to a lot of places. And I grew up taking a lot of vacations, but with travel trailer. Like we'd go two places for a week or 2 weeks. We just hit the road. But I got to see all these amazing things as a kid, some of which I have not even taken my kids to yet. Like Hearst Castle is one.
Right.
Grand Canyon is another.
Which are very easy to get to.
Yeah. Bryce Canyon is another one. Camping in the snow out in Utah, like, going to New Mexico and seeing the caverns. Like there's all these cool things that like I got to do. So I think I would say Mark Johnson and David Greep, if I were to have to like switch positions with somebody and do their job, I would love to do that. Yeah. With a mild to heavy dose of selfishness. mild to heavy dose. What's that mean?
My pick was going to be David Greep as well. Just like,
would it be?
Yeah. I get to plan an adventure for you. And then, just that. The pre and the post, right? I'm going to plan this and how did it go? And it just sounds like fun. Great thing to do.
Oh man, that's a great question. I think I might. Is it okay if I use that question now for everyone from this point forward? I'm like, this is Ramses' question for everybody now on the podcast.
Cool.
All right. So we can agree?
Yes.
Deal? Okay, deal. All right. Deal made on set. So Ramses, thank you so much for sharing so much today. I appreciate you coming to the show and also just, being open to do this and sorry.
No, yeah. Thank you for having me. It's actually pretty easy. You're great to keep a conversation going. I was just like, I'm not going to say much.
Yeah, you don't even know how long it's been, huh?
No.
Yeah, it's not been 15 minutes. It's been quite long, quite a long time more than 20. Get out of here. Oh, wow. We need someone to come teach Ramses how to tell time in our chapter. So if you know someone who knows how to tell time, invite them to an upcoming meeting. If you'd like to network with Ramses and myself and the rest of BNI Partners in Excellence, you can join us down at the Chula Vista Golf Course in Bonita, 4475 Bonita Road. code. Every Wednesday, open networking starts at 6:45 a.m. Meeting starts at 7. You can click on the QR code at the end slide of this video or the link in the description box below. Ramses, thank you for coming to the show.
Thanks.
Look forward to seeing you at next week's meeting. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you with another great guest next week.